What up? Welcome to Homegrown Hustle, where local brilliance takes the center stage. I'm your host, Matt Eickman. Together, we're about to embark on an inspiring journey. Our community thrives on the wisdom of insightful leaders that are right here in our backyard. And we're bringing their expertise to your ears. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your guide. Join us every week in celebrating innovation, guidance, and the power to inspire greatness. Let's explore the stories that shape our local business landscape, and together, let's ignite the spark of excellence.
What's up, hustlers? I'm here with one of my favorite people. Actually, she's my favorite person, technically. My wife,
only
Monica.
technically.
And we've actually got Enoch in the studio here, too. We don't have an Enoch cam, but we're here to talk about building a podcast and the Momma-sota podcast, something that you've built really quickly, the community around that. And one thing we've talked about quite a bit is how we weren't planning on it when you kind of got it cracking, but a lot of the people you're speaking with are Momma-preneurs, right? They're parents, and then they've either got a side hustle or they've actually got a business that serves moms or children. So do you want to, first of all, introduce yourself a little bit and then talk about what Momma-sota is?
All right. Well, it feels weird to introduce myself to my husband. You can probably introduce me better.
Well, it's not to me, to them.
But yeah, Monica Eickman. I've got 4 kids, and after having my first, became a stay-at-home mom. And so my life and day-to-day and everything just revolves around them and what they're doing all the time. So Momma-sota, I guess. If you ask me, like, what's new? Like, my question is always, what's new with the kids? You know, they have tryouts or a birthday party or whatever's going on, or what'd you do today? It's telling you where I brought the kids or what I did with the kids. So I think that was just evolved into all of my conversations. And so I was talking with someone else, and again, all of these questions and everything reverted back to the kids. And so they kind of pushed me to explore that venture more and to share that piece of my life. So that's Momma-sota.
And really, like, just have conversations that really, unless you have a tight-knit community of other moms where you can kind of have dialogues about, like, diapers and random stuff like that. Some of these conversations are just like, you got to search the internet or Facebook anyway to get there. So the platform that you're building there is pretty unique, and part of what we're doing at Abracadabra, it's really to give back. I mean, stay-at-home moms is our target demographic. Are you awake now, Enoch?
He's pretending.
Sweet. All right. So do you want to talk a little bit about, like, some of the business owners that you've interviewed and some of the things that you've learned that were kind of eye-opening for you?
Oh, geez. You're going to put me on the spot for some of them to feel like I forgot them. No, the big thing.
You all.
No, the big thing was before starting the podcast, I wanted to build, like, the Facebook page a little bit. And what I found is a bunch of the pages that I'm on already are, like, mom pages. And then a lot of them become, like, stay-at-home mom pages, because as stay-at-home moms, we're trying to find something else to do other than just stay home with our kids or go spend money taking our kids places. So there's all these groups that are kind of doing the same thing. And so that's where my group kind of built to. And then pulling from my group to find guests is, even when these moms are, like you said, mompreneurs, they're running a business, but it's still just like them and maybe one other person, or running it out of their home, or just, like, small. So they still call themselves a stay-at-home mom, but then they're running a business. And so
that's really unique.
And that's just it. I think, like, even when people ask me or how I introduce myself, like, I don't say I'm running a business or that I'm part owner of Abracadabra or that I own Momma-sota. I guess you could say, like, I don't consider it a business, or I don't consider myself, like, a working from home mom. I call myself a stay-at-home mom.
But I've called you on it a few times. Like, there is quite a bit of time that you're working on Momma-sota, and maybe you don't even realize it because kind of by design you've built it to be part of your day-to-day rather than this whole big ordeal like what we're doing here that kind of overcomplicates things. So let's back it up. So you built the Facebook group, and it's and I know you don't realize it, but it's a really quickly growing page, and you've become like one of the fastest growing influencers in the Twin Cities, particularly within that demographic. However, one thing that I see is really unique is you're not like pushing a lot of products. We've had quite a few companies reach out, like talking about sponsorships and trying to buy ad space and things like that. That's probably going to happen, but at this point, it's all been about like just the things that kind of come up in your life, right? And how the conversation could just extend in the comments. Like a lot of the conversations are like living in the comments on these pages. And I think as you continue to grow this, I'm just really excited for it. But back to my original question. So you grow the Facebook group, and then do you want to talk a little bit about like just starting up the podcast and like some of the stuff you had to
deal with?
I guess we had to figure out early on.
I mean, the biggest thing is I'm not into technology, and I'm not into like this being in front of the camera sort of deal. So the podcast wasn't really and isn't really something that like I wanted to do or feel comfortable doing, and still like every time get nervous about doing.
It's definitely outside your comfort zone.
Way outside my comfort zone. That's why my podcast still is audio only, because one, sometimes I'm still in my pajamas, so I don't have to I don't have to get ready, but two, just because pajamas or ready, I don't like being in front of the camera. So, I mean, I guess the biggest things was I like to get everything on the back end done first. So like I wanted to grow the Facebook page so that there was an audience there, and I wanted to like have the brand and the logo and like the things like that. And then you were just like, just record an episode. I'm like,
start recording.
I don't even know, like, other than to like what? Turn on my camera and hit record. Like, I'm like, that's not a thing. So I don't know, like you obviously figured out all of the technology side of it.
But I mean, you've built a team, and now you've got like, is he pretending again, or is this real life?
I mean, it's real life, but he's not away.
So you've also built a team the team and workflow that goes into all that, because the podcast is like kind of one of the baseline pieces of content that you're putting out consistently, very routine for the last year plus. But then there's like all the other pieces of content. One that I think is crazy impactful is just like the schedule of free events that you put out, like that planning of like, what are we going to do with the kids today? That sucks, and it usually ends up costing like $20 a head wherever you go. But that resource you put together every week, it really is a cheat code for that. So do you want, like, what was that process of like building a virtual team as you're going through building a podcast and being very uncomfortable through all of it?
I think the biggest thing is like I have a text to myself of like 20 videos or things that I want to put together. But again, going back to like wanting to prepare stuff first and still like trying to be a perfectionist. But then the point of Momma-sota is like showing that raw, real moment is that, like I said, yeah, I just have all these ideas, but I don't find the time or the resource to put them together. So having, like you said, that team help me out, I can shoot them my ideas. They can kind of put stuff together for me. I can edit it and then throw it out.
It's kind of like a fluid train of thought type of process for those type of things. So the community that you've built, like, talk a little bit about that, because I think the community of moms, especially moms that run businesses, is incredibly powerful. And like what excites you the most about that?
Well, going with that, like I don't realize or see the impact that the page has, because again, not knowing social media, the biggest thing I'm looking at is like, are there comments, are there shares, are there likes, like that engagement, which isn't big, but the following on the page is over 4,000. So it's got to be seen. The coolest thing I think I saw is on another mom page, someone had asked like, what's going on this weekend or something like that. And someone commented, like, if you follow Momma-sota, they put out this weekly list of events. So that was super cool, because like whenever I see those posts, I always comment myself like, oh, follow Momma-sota and you'll find this. But there's other things that are similar that put out lists and whatever, that I've seen people comment with those. So seeing mine commented for the first time without me being the person commenting, that was super cool. But then also realizing that even still with content and the followers and some people that are following, they still see or don't see certain things. Because someone messaged me and said, so we put the weekly one out, goes every Thursday morning, but then the daily stuff is just in the story so that you can like refer back to that each day. And
trying to make it convenient.
Yeah. But someone messaged and they're like, have you ever thought about putting the daily one as like the or what's going to be the next day? Because a lot of times when I wake up in the morning, by the time I see it,
we're proactive, right?
But but they're like, by the time I see it, I'm like, oh, I want to go do something that's at 10 o'clock and I have to think about like packing snacks and getting my kids ready. And then it's like too hard to get there or it's a little bit further away. And I was like, no, I hadn't thought of that. Thank you for that,
so
recommendation.
This is coming from the community?
Yeah, someone just sent a personal message to.
Hey, this would make my life easier.
Yeah. But then in my head, I'm thinking like, well, we put out the whole week on Thursday in a post. And like, so I was like, thank you for that idea. Also, just so you know, the whole, week. And they're like, oh, I've never seen that part of your post. So they're following my page. They see the daily story of events, but still didn't see that there's that weekly post.
How are we going to fix it?
I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to figure that out. Also, just like scoping out pages, like you said, with the community, there's so many similar pages, but they all have their rules of like, you can comment a link or you can't comment a link, or you can share something from another page or you can't share. So just trying to be parts of pages and get pass on the information when you can, but then just trying to figure that whole thing out.
So what's different about Momma-sota versus these other pages?
I think with a lot of them, they chose, and maybe that's a good thing, and maybe that's where I'm missing, but they kind of have like one niche piece of the parenting. Like there's some pages that are just about like events, like what's going on in Minnesota, adventure pages and whatever.
Like blogs about like trips with, yep.
Yeah. And then there's some pages that are just like where moms can post a question of like, what diaper cream are you using? Or where's holistic pediatrician? And they're just like questions where people, like a forum, can answer. There's obviously the influencers that are showing like their kids and their day-to-day life. And I think, and then like I said, there's podcast people, but I kind of have like all of that on my page. And like I said, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And we're working through that. Like I have right now, I kind of have like, there's a Monday motivation. There's a Tuesday tips and tricks. There's Wednesday is usually like the podcast stuff. And so we're going to have a post soon that's just kind of asking like, what content do you like? Which content do you just like zip on past?
Consider this that post. Feel free to send something.
Yeah. Which content is relevant to you? Which don't you like? Or what would you like to see, sort of thing, so that we can better, provide what the audience, I guess, wants.
What other questions do you have for the audience or for the community? Because again, like going back, it's always been about like bringing value and giving back to the community. That's helped us grow our business and support our family and all the families that are on our team. So if we're trying to bring as much value and impact, like let's use this cool resource to do that. What do you think, babe?
I mean, yeah. I think just the biggest thing is like I want people to comment, and just even if it's like the not nice comment, sometimes it's just like that criticism of like, that was a dumb idea, or we really think you should do this. Like it's helpful because it's stuff that like, if I had thought of it, I'd probably be doing it, or I just disagree.
And that's okay. But to that point, it's the page like with intent has been like, let's talk about all the sides. Like, do we like cloth diapers or do we like the disposable ones? And that ability to just have a platform where that conversation can happen. I think a lot like running a business feels like you're kind of on an island because you don't really know what you don't know. Early on, parenthood is very much that same feeling. And so outside of your parents and what you experience there and anything you can learn from them, there's not really a lot. And like, I can only imagine how many hours you've spent either on social media or other blogs and stuff, like learning about being a mom and how to be a better mom.
Completely true. I feel like a lot of times, again, having those conversations, like I'm talking about my kids and whatever it is, and a lot of like my lead-ins to that will be like, oh, on one of my mom pages, I XYZ, or, oh, when I was looking at this mom page, I saw, and so it's like a lot of what I know is from other mom pages, or, I mean, it started out with my first late night nursing sessions on like an app where like people posted questions and then, like doing research from there. And so that is one piece missing with my page, is like I'm trying to get the conversation going, and we've kind of branched out too on a secondary page of like the Momma-sota Hive where people can start those conversations.
Group,
yeah. But just kind of getting that ball rolling and
maybe bring some video into the content, right, Gabe? But I mean, when it comes to overall like building the community, obviously you're growing the community around momming a lot faster than we're growing Homegrown Hustle. I'm going to say the reason for that is the demographics a little bit bigger. Everyone has a mom. Not everyone's a business owner, but it's not a race or a competition.
We can make it a race or a competition.
For sure. So I want to back it up a little bit but this is all coming from Abracadabra, and like early on, the Mommapreneur, you grew up around your mother. She was running 2 businesses at the same time, and you grew up in that household. Do you want to talk a little bit about what it was like seeing that from like your role model?
Sure. I wouldn't have, kind of like I say that I don't realize like I'm running a business. Growing up, I wouldn't have thought about the fact that my mom was running a business or 2 businesses, or actually even
3 businesses.
I was going to say prior to that, well, and not even what you're referring to, but she also cleaned houses. So, which she's kind of gone back to a little bit. But my mom did in-home daycare, and then...
Tough job.
Yeah, I don't know. Wild job.
Like a third-party stay-at-home mom. That's tough.
Yeah. And then obviously Abracadabra Environmental Services was my dad's company, or, my mom and dad's company first. So they had started that together. And
Pop shop.
Mom pop shop. Yeah. She doesn't, and she went into the workforce for a little bit while still doing the daycare, and Abracadabra was working at like a printing facility. And then now in Florida is running a business again with
Just can't help herself.
She can't, with the dog rescue. So I guess, and I've kind of been the opposite, where I've always said, like, if I'm going to be working, I would rather someone tell me what I'm supposed to do and punch that time clock.
I can be that guy.
But I'm not doing that either. So I don't know. It's just in my blood, I guess.
I mean, so to the point where like the itch to be an entrepreneur, run your own business, like I see it all the time. Like people will exit a business or they'll close their business down, and eventually they start coming back. And my theory on that is just like the ability to kind of change how the day runs so that you can get as much time to do the things you want as possible. And when you're a mom, like the things that are most important are your children, right? So when you can do that and be a stay-at-home mom and run a business out of your house, like that's like a superpower. I feel like us guys, like nobody's trying to really do that. There might be a guy out there, tag him if there is, but how come your mom can juggle so many things like that? Or how come women in general can really do, like, keep all the plates spinning?
I don't know. I think there's a pull, I guess, for moms to like want to be with their kids and want to raise their kids and stay home. And it's not a luxury that every mom can afford. But I think sometimes the way to strike that balance is, like I said, they call themselves a stay-at-home mom, but they create this side hustle venture. But it's, I mean, some do, like food deliveries and whatever, which isn't their own. Well, they probably still are contracted as their own. But like, I think the way they find it doing that is they find whatever other passion they have besides being a mom and their children, and they make that passion a business. And like I said, but they still, unless you're talking about it like this and like trying to pull that out of them, I think they still just call themselves a stay-at-home mom.
It's
or
just
like you
part
said,
of their life.
or it's kind of like you said, coined, and I only heard it, even though I've been staying home for 8 years now, I've only heard it in the last year or so, the Mom-preneur, and it's like that.
I thought I made that up.
Well, I don't know. I heard it from someone on my podcast. And so when she said it, I was like, oh, Mom-preneur. Okay. Like, I'm like, so we're a stay-at-home mom, but we're not really, like, we're running a business, but our kids are present. So
what has that done for our children? Like, just see, because they know dad goes to work and we're running Abracadabra and we've got a team, right? But they don't really see too much of that. But talk about some of the things that have happened with our littles just by being around what you're doing, developing your influencer. I don't know, your creator, content creator. I think that's a thing.
So I think if you were to ask the kids still, like when you get those like Mother's Day or Father's Day cards that are like, my dad is blank years old and my dad's favorite color is, and they put in these like wild answers and it's just funny to see. I think if you asked our kids like what your mom does for work or like had that kind of blank, they would say that their mom doesn't work, or because I mean like they're still young and I still, like I said, don't consider myself like running a business or being working. I call myself a stay-at-home mom. So like that flat answer I think would be, mom doesn't work or whatever. But some funny things recently, and I find them on my phone, is my son, he's going to be 8, or our son, he's going to be 8 next week, and he sees me, but then also hops on YouTube at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Thanks, guys. And so he's walking around with my phone. And he's like, okay, guys, so I'm just going to show you. This is my kitchen, and it's a little messy, so you can blame my parents. But, and then he's just like showing the house and like doing, I'm like, what are you doing? And then our 2.5-year-old just the other day is walking around with an old flip phone. And she turns around with her phone and she goes, I'm going to show you my house. This is my living room. This is my brother. And I'm like, so they see what I'm doing and they're imitating what I do. They just don't, like I said, necessarily.
There's no coaching on this.
No, or not on that. Or also when I'm like taking videos or pictures or whatever it might be, depending on what mood they're in, the kids are like, are you going to put that on Momma-sota? Is this for Momma-sota? So it's like they know it's there and they know like that
There's
we
a
are.
community behind it.
Yeah, and that we're creating stuff for that. But like I said, I still don't. And my son understands that like being a YouTuber is a thing. So I think they're still kind of making that connection a little bit.
So for all the kids out there that want to be a YouTuber or a creator, like give them a couple tips or tricks for becoming a content creator or influencer.
I don't know if I'm the person to give those tips and tricks because I still don't. You're the one that always is like, you're a micro influencer. I'm like, no,
by definition,
I'm not a micro influencer by any stretch of the word. So, I mean, I guess it's just take your pictures, take your videos, and share them because that's what I'm doing.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about like what it's like? Because this community is bigger than just Mommapreneurs, right? It's all the moms. So I'm pretty sure most people out there have a mom. Maybe not everybody knows them, but this is a big demographic, right? So for the moms that are out there and they're not Mommapreneurs, like when they come to the channel or they listen to the podcast, what's some of the things that they're gonna hear or experience or can bring to that channel?
Sure. One of the biggest things that comes up a lot, whether it's a question by design or just something that we fall into when we're talking, is that like motherhood in general is seasonal, especially like if you're in Minnesota, which is kind of where my reach started. Yeah, Momma-sota is that parenthood is a journey and that it goes through seasons. And so like wherever you're at right now doesn't mean that's where you're going to be forever. Like your children are changing, you're growing and changing. One child gets older, maybe you have another child that's, younger again. So you're going through a series of changes in parenthood. So you might be in a place right now that seems hard or impossible. You're going to get to another place that might now seem harder or more impossible, but you're also going to get to a place that's like easy and breezy. And that's just, like I said, going to keep changing. So that's kind of something that comes up a lot. And then another piece that kind of falls into that is the self-care portion of, for any person, like that's important. But again, as a mom and especially as a stay-at-home mom, and there's kind of two big camps with that. And I don't care where you fall, but some people are like, let's stop normalizing taking a shower and brushing your teeth as like self-care because that's basic hygiene. And let's like make it, like self-care really should be more. And then other people are like, no, let's understand that like that is self-care, again, with the seasons of where you're at right now. Maybe that is something that needs to just be addressed, and we'll get past that or through that. And actually, along with that, the other day, one of my girlfriends is going through a little bit of a tough time, and one of her other friends asked her, like, how are you going to take care of yourself today? And she didn't want answers, but she was just, like throwing that out there, and how are you going to take care of yourself next week and whatever. And being where she's at, that just kind of was hard. And like I said, the self-care talk, some people are like making it that you should be, on a 1 week spa vacation by yourself. So that like really hits. But someone else, her son wrote on a toy, and then her friend took that and then asked her, instead of saying like, what's your self-care going to be? It was like, how are you going to fight for yourself today? And just hearing it in like a different terms or different words for her, even though it's like the same thing, just like flip that switch. So
the differing perspective.
Yeah, because like you said, we get so bogged down with whether or not I took care of myself, but it's like, how am I going to fight for myself? It's like, well, yeah, like, yes, I'm going to fight for myself. Like, I am important.
Well, and sometimes like being a resource, I know people like reach out and just ask questions, because like not everybody has a strong support community like we do with our family and the community you've built. So really just having those resources and like letting the conversation take place, because these conversations need to happen because it makes everybody's life easier, and it's better for our children too, right? So from a consumer standpoint, as a mother that buys stuff for your children, what are some of the things that you see like in the business of babies or the business of children that you'd like to see change, or that your community thinks should be different?
I don't know. I think
that was a good question.
I think the hard part is with social media and the influencer side of things, there is this glamorized side of
a filtered version.
Yes, of like motherhood and parenting and what your house should look like and how it should be. And maybe some moms are really living that like complete dream of no chaos, and they've just got it all figured out.
The shoes are put away.
Yeah, but I think for the most part, it's either like, let me clean my house before I get on camera, or I've made it so big that I have, like nannies and extra services, or some spaces are rented out, or they're showing you all of this, but like deep down, like, are they truly happy? But then you have the people that are like, my house is a mess, and they're trying to live up to like these standards or what they see on the social media, and it's just trying to find like, where is that common ground, and where is like true life live. And even sometimes not from just like people on my page, but like that are actually my friends, like we'll be having a conversation, and it's come up from 2 different friends in the last week and a half to 2 weeks that are like having a tough morning or a tough whatever, and like they'll send me something, and then they've commented also like, oh, I'm talking to a pro, or I sound stupid, I'm talking to an expert. And like, it makes me feel good, but also like hurts at the same time, because like that's not where I'm at. Like, I'm struggling too. This is weird. So I think just like having the Me Too moments on the hard side of things versus like trying to have like the Me Too or one up moments of like, oh, I'm better, or I've got it all figured out.
Like, everyone thinks the grass is always greener. And now that you've got this platform, even though the intent is kind of the opposite of creating that, it still happens. So like there's not a lot of orchestration that goes into it. I mean, it's not like we've got cameras up recording what happens, but
no, and I say that all the time. Like, my kids will say something or do something that's just wild or off the wall or like intriguing, and I'm like, this is where I wish I was a celebrity that had a camera on me all the time, because that was like a perfect thing to put on the platform. We're getting there. No, I'm not going to have a camera on me at all times.
Well, we'd have to cut it out like at certain points, obviously. So where do you see Momma-sota going forward? I mean, for Homegrown Hustle, this is episode 101, and it's our season finale here, and we've got some big plans for season 2. But for Momma-sota, like, what do you want to accomplish? Where do you see it going from here?
So I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not say this. I don't think it really matters, but like,
You want more people to sign up for pest control?
yeah, that's what I was going for. I was thinking like, how can I get people to sign up for pest control and just completely rebrand in that direction? No, but we are kind of working on a rebrand and just trying to figure out, like I had kind of said before, like what content are people finding useful? What content do they want to see instead?
Merge.
A merger.
Merch.
Oh, merch. I was like, I don't know about a merger. Merch, if you're interested in merch, yeah, you can let me know. But just, I think separating, I don't know exactly because we're just at the very beginning, but having, like I said, we have the Momma-sota page where I'm throwing out, like I said, a million ideas. So maybe trying to figure out what's working and what's not working. We have the Momma-sota hive where we want you guys to just like have those conversations that like I comment on other pages. And then we have the podcast. And I think we're going to kind of pull some of those pieces apart.
And let them kind of live in their own channels type of thing.
Just so that can, I don't know.
Be sick as heck, that's why.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you could go back and like do something differently when like growing your channel, growing your podcast, and like you could go back and change the first 6 months, what would you have done differently?
I think, it's just something I still need to do now is I didn't have like the vision of my head of like, I'm going to be a social media influencer. And to be honest, like I kind of know Facebook, but I don't know like Instagram or TikTok or whatever the other things are like whatsoever.
There's a new one probably today that came out.
Probably. And so if I am going to be an influencer, like, and I don't follow like influencers either. So I don't really know like,
this is kind of awkward for you.
Yes, like what I'm supposed to be doing, I guess, or how to do it. Like I'm just learning as I go, and I think I need to, not that I want to take classes, like I don't want to pay to be an influencer type of deal, but just kind of learn how to put together reels or like
some of the technical side of like.
Well, yeah, even on Facebook, like I see the stories across the top. On Instagram, when I hit like create story and then it says the story's uploaded, I still just see my logo in the circle. So I'm like, how do you see people's stories?
Yeah,
like, so I don't even understand
we'll
it.
Take any tips or tricks if you want to fire those over.
So I think if I understood it, a little better, I would maybe be able to push my content.
Social media is almost like parenting though, where there's like, everybody's using it. Everybody's got some experience there, but what's the resource to go and learn it?
That's true. Yeah. And even with parenting, like there's 1,000,001 books, but this book will tell you to do this way, and then this book will tell you and use the word or use like the technique of the other book and say like that's wrong, and instead you should use this one, and this one's going to show you science, and this one's also going to show you science. So and your kid doesn't fit or work with that technique, and then your second kid doesn't fit or work with that technique. So it's never
convenient.
No, so even when you think you've got it figured out, or like I said, I've figured out what to do when my son was 6, and now he's the same kid but 8, and that doesn't work anymore. So it's always changing anyways, and that's the same with social media and the algorithms and what's going to hit. So I focus more on figuring out my kids and a little bit less on figuring out.
What I think is really cool is it's a lot of documenting, and when I see some of these other pages or influencers out there, you can tell there's a lot of like, this was orchestrated or created. Like this is a bit type of thing.
For sure.
So that type of authenticity, I think, is something that's kind of it's not commonplace because people want to present and have some type of agenda that's there. And really for us and for you, it's just been so natural that allows it to continue to flow, and the consistency you have, which is, it could be one of the biggest contributors, is it's not like you started it up, you had a kid, and then you stopped. Like it kept going. So through those seasons that you were talking about, it like you're documenting that and creating conversations around that even if it's not like at that moment, but somebody can go back and now that's a resource or an idea that they can go and take and bring to their family. I think I kind of hate social media, but it's like a really powerful thing because it shrinks the world a little bit and allows people to communicate that maybe would have never interacted.
And I think too, with what you're saying of like, I had a kid and then I had, another kid and things just kind of keep moving even when I get like the comments, like I said, of someone saying like, oh, you're a pro or you've got it all figured out, is Enoch, 2 months old, we just had his appointment, and it was talking about, or you get those questions like, is your kid following a toy if you do this, or is your kid, and some of it I was like, oh, I haven't tried that with him yet. But then thinking back, I was like, well, I did that with Malachi, who is our oldest. So when I had him, I, like I said, lived on like following an app that was like, at this month, these are the things you should do with your kids. And at this month, this is something you should do with your kids. And then, I had the second and then the third and then the fourth. And some of that stuff, like, you just, like, I forget about because I'm not doing that with my 2.5-year-old, like, playing with a toy. But weird. I don't want to say I'm too busy to, like, be with Enoch. Like, I'm holding him and he's with me all the time. But I'm not, like, reading those things to be like, oh, I should try this. So even we were at the doctor's appointment, I was like, oh, shoot, I haven't done that yet. Like, I should work on this. Like, the basics, like, yes, I'm doing tummy time and I'm talking to him and, but, like, some of the little pieces that, like, I know I did with my first that kind of get, like, lost in the mix with the others that I come back to. So it's like, I'm not a pro and I've done it before, but it doesn't mean I'm still doing it or I'm busy with other things.
I think on the fourth go around, you are kind of a pro at being a mom. They're all still alive. I haven't lost. That's a major W every day when I get home. But the fact of the matter is, like, nobody goes through the same experiences that you go through, right? So it's always easy to look at somebody else and compare yourselves to them a lot. And we talk about this with our kids, but like, just understanding that there's somebody else out there, even if you're not even sharing the experience, but knowing that they've been there, like, that can make a situation that's really draining or emotional be a lot lighter to carry. So I think what you're doing is powerful. I see the work that you put in, and man, I'm really proud of you. I really am. And I don't know how many episodes you're at, but I don't see it ending anytime soon. I know you got a big library behind. Are there any particular guests or conversations that you'd like to see come up? Maybe our followers might be able to help source some of those for you.
So, like you said, I've done a lot of mompreneurs, and they've been great and fabulous. And we've talked about, occupational therapy and different things like with kids. But some of the conversations I want to have is just like, I don't care. You can be a mompreneur. That's fine too. Or you can go work for someone, or you can just be a stay-at-home mom. But it's just to have that conversation of like, what happened yesterday that caused your kid to melt down or caused you to melt down, or what products have you found useful, or what products did everyone say, oh, you need to get this, and you were just like, this was a total waste of money. So just like those normal mom conversations that when we're at the park, those are the conversations we have. Because it's like, oh,
just do a live stream where everyone gets to hop on and complain for like
that's
2
kind
minutes.
of it. Like, sometimes I am just like, like I go to forest school, the kids go play in the woods, and the moms, and we have dads going to that one too, are just standing around talking. And I'm like, oh, this is when I wish I had like the camera on. It's just like those real conversations of just what happened today or yesterday, because they fill a lot of space.
Maybe it'll have to be a different format than a podcast, but we can make that happen. Any like particular subject matter experts that you'd want to see come on, like research in a particular area or expertise in a particular area?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of experts. That's what's been that's what's been really cool actually, is I didn't intend to like talk to someone that's like, oh, I'm a PhD, or oh, I'm like I said, an occupational therapist, or oh, like I didn't expect those people to be like, sure, I'll be on your podcast. Like, I thought it was just going to be, my neighbor moms down the street and my girlfriends and like that sort of thing. So it's been really cool that I've got to interview those people. And the funny thing is like, I'm going on like, oh my gosh, this is nerve-wracking. I've got like this doctor about to come on, or an author of a book on child and parenting. And then like I talked to them for 2 minutes before we hit record, and they're like, I'm really nervous. I've never done a podcast. And like, they're seeing me again as like the expert, as the host. And so it's,
I mean, even for this, you were still like a little nervous.
Yeah, a lot nervous.
So, it happens, but like you're putting it out there and you're allowing value to be created for anybody that goes out and consumes it, which I think is super cool. Anything else you want to say to our listeners or anybody out there about how to get in contact with you, follow you, anything else like that?
Sign up for pest control? No, Momma-sota. I mean, it's on Facebook. Instagram is Momma-sota Pod.
I think we got it on everything.
Yeah.
There's even a LinkedIn.
Well, there's a LinkedIn. I wasn't aware I have a LinkedIn. But just, follow, and like I said, send personal messages or whatever it is to like what what you like on the page, what you don't like on the page, what you'd rather see, what you like about other pages, so that we can deliver content that's relevant.
And if you're listening to our podcast, you're probably a Minnesota business owner. So at the very least, send this to your mom, take a look at the page, share it with somebody you know who's a mom who maybe could use a resource like that. Because building this community and the people that are in that's really the powerful part. We're really just creating the platform for that. So we got a rapid fire round of questions. You ready, baby?
Yeah.
You ready, Enoch?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right, he's a little busy. What's the most unexpected thing you've learned from podcasting?
Actually, that like after I have the conversation, I really enjoyed the conversation, but during and before every time, I still hate it.
What's one thing you always keep in your bag as a mompreneur?
All right, here's a big plug. Super nerdy, the bug bite thing. It's a godsend for our third who has Skeeter syndrome. Actually, she took it off my bag.
Of course. So it's not always in the
It
bag.
was actually. I was thinking about that today. I was like, oh man.
What's the best Minnesota mom hack you swear by besides following Momma-sota?
Yeah, I don't know. Just keep crap in your car. You're going to need something.
What is one thing you feel like you've mastered after 4 kids? It's a good one.
Nothing. I'm still working on it.
Which kid is most likely to interrupt a podcast recording?
Ophelia, 100%.
That's what I was going to say.
They're supposed to be during nap time. And yeah, she always peeks in.
She is our little superstar. She's been on a couple commercials and everything.
Yeah.
But, all right. Great rapid fire round. Do you want to ask me one question? 2 questions? We can edit this all out if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen. What's your best dad moment?
My best dad moment? Every single day when I get home and I have kids running to me. Being front door famous is way more important to me than anything else. For real. Yeah. So I get it every day. That's why I leave.
That's why
so I get to come back to that. What's hustle mean to you?
Hustle means hurry up and get your ass moving. That's what I tell my kids, to hustle up.
Get on it. Get your bag. I told you 10 minutes ago to get in the car and get in the car. Yeah. Babe, thank you so much again for coming out here, driving through the worst traffic ever and making it to the studio. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with Momma-sota. And I know we got Princess in the Park and all that's going on now, so we probably got to cut this one, huh? Is there anything, any last minute things you want to add? Besides how much you love me, this is where you can...
Oh, yeah. How much I love my husband. And please stop sending emails that ask if he's single, because he's not.
Okay. Well, stop sending those. All right. Thanks again. Everybody, give this one a like, share it, keep following and asking all the questions. It means a lot to us, all the support that we're getting. Again, this is a season wrap up. We've got a lot of big things planned for season 2, so keep sending those ideas over. But until season 2, keep hustling.
Are you dealing with pest or wildlife issues on your property? Call us at 763-328-0156 or scan the QR code to learn more.
Thanks again for joining us on Homegrown Hustle. Our local business community thrives because of the brilliant leaders right here in our backyard. And it's been an absolute privilege to provide them with a platform to share their invaluable expertise. Stay tuned for more insight, wisdom, and inspiration from our local business champions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Together, we'll continue to nurture and expand our homegrown success stories. Matt Eickman signing off until our next insightful episode.